Hi guys, it's booty time again, so let's have a look to see what we have here. This one is, well, it's all beige drives, beige floppy, beige ATXK, so a little bit of blue, yeah, blue button, but otherwise it's beige, yeah, everything beige. This has no power supply, so it came to me. But that means we can have a quick look inside there. And this looks like it's a Pentium 4, but the fans fell off, yeah. Little insider view, that's what's inside it, okay. So I'm pretty sure, and this is hanging off by the way, we can say this is going to be a Pentium 4. Couple of USBs, some sort of graphics card. If it's a P4, I think it's going to be an early one. Well, the side comes off this. Yeah, and this is a, well, it looks like a P4. I mean, it has this plastic holder around the CPU socket. It's a bit of a small heatsink. Obviously, the top part of it is missing. Probably just a fan, okay. Some sort of fairly nondescript graphics card in there. No RAM. No hard drive, so basically we have a motherboard with processor and a graphics card. This is a QDI board. QDI Platinix 2, okay. The QDI seem to have something of a following on the retro scene, so maybe this does have some value. Because there's no hard drive and no power supply, I'm gonna just take the motherboard out of this and then we can have a look to see what we've got. And here it is. Straight away we can see we have some bad looking capacitors just here, okay. So the board has another name here, Platinix 2A. It says Platinix 2 on the sticker, basically the same thing. These look bad to me, these capacitors. Okay. And that one, yeah, so you can see that's gone and these have gone, so we have a whole batch of bad capacitors on the vehicle. To change these, I need to take the heatsink off, so we may as well have a look to see what we have here. This has IDE but no SATA. Some of the P4 boards also have SATA, the socket 478, so we can say this is an early one. Which means it may not have a great deal of value because it won't take the fastest of the P4 processors. Okay, nice amount of heatsink compound on this, fresh. Somebody's tried to get this working, so they've done that, but they didn't notice these. That's really observant of them, yeah. Put some fresh heatsink compound on, see if it'll run stably, and of course it won't run stable. So it probably runs with these bad capacitors, it's just not stable with them, okay. So it's a 1.5 gig, that's quite a slow Pentium 4, as I say, it's one of the early ones. We can get rid of this, or we can use the thing that Detlef gave me, yeah. Let's have a look, so. Oh, that works well, yeah, look at that. This is a great little thing, guys. And this was cheap from AliExpress, you know, like €1 or something. Okay, that's impressive, get one of these guys. I think it would be interesting actually with this one. Let's see if this actually will run with all these bad capacitors in it. The fact they've been putting fresh heatsink compound on makes me think probably it does run, and somebody was actually using this not so long ago, okay. Or maybe they didn't use it after they changed the heatsink compound, so it could have been changed quite a long time ago. They tried it, it made no difference, and therefore they just threw it out, basically, okay? So let's have a look, I'm just interested to see. In my experience, often they will run. It's possible you might blow the MOSFETs and the VRMs, and you may find the inductor coils run hotter than usual, but we'll try it. If it runs without changing them, let's have a look to see what this is worth. If it's worth something like about €80, we'll get it recapped now and we'll just try it. If it's worth about 40 and for this type of board. I think probably I won't recap this one right now. I'll stick it in storage. I know it's a good board. It just needs those changing, okay? The graphics card. Doesn't really say a great deal on it. CMX8L. CMX8L. Mentions 2001. I don't know if this is maybe the year. I'm not sure when Pentium 4s came out. I can't say exactly, but 2001 there, if it is a year code. Okay. Other than that, it really doesn't say a great deal. Oh, it says 264M. Okay. Yeah. Well, we seem to have a QDI Platonomics. Is that supposed to be the same thing? Yeah. Platonomics 2PE. Platonix 2-AL. Like that one. So there are a few on offer and they seem to be this sort of price. Question is, are they really worth that? And that we can only find out by seeing if anybody's bought any. Okay, so one sold for 50, you see, working, and one for 9.96. Yeah, needs parts. Okay, so that's basically what they're worth, that sort of price. We can see because one actually sold on the 19th of April, so I don't know, 6-7 weeks ago. Okay, and this I think had a graphics card with it as well. Yeah, some sort of graphics card with that. Oh, and an interesting comment. Read this one. Yeah, all you guys who thought Brexit was a good idea, okay? There you go. And it does say it had the RAM, the CPU, the graphics card as well, okay? So I think we can say, in fairness, that the motherboard itself is worth about £40, which is what I thought. And obviously not what these sellers think. Okay, there you go. Not what the sellers think. So it's not valuable. In that case, let's actually try this and see if it will run, or at least boot up with those bad capacitors. We'll do a check for the short circuit high side MOSFETs first. Ground. Not short. Not short. Ground. So it's good in that respect. Okay, let's see. So we can see the board, the analyzer, monitor is just there, so we can see this quite clearly. Maybe this shot is better than what I normally use. Let me know if you prefer this camera angle. Okay, so power on. Does it start? Yes, it does start, and it's booting. It's looking for the graphics card now. The blue light is on the monitor, and we have a picture, okay? Yeah, so this will in fact boot up with those bad capacitors. I'm sure it won't be stable, but it will boot. So bad capacitors will not necessarily stop a motherboard from booting. You've just seen that yourselves there, okay? This one, as I say, isn't of any great value at the moment. I'll keep this in my storage. I'm not going to be looking to sell this at the moment anyway. But at any time I like, I can take it out of storage, change those capacitors, and it should be good to go. Now let's have a look to see if we can figure out what this thing is. So CMX8L, that's the best number I think to go by. Was it X6L? One moment. No, it's definitely 8L. What does Google say? It says it's a GeForce 2 MX200. Oh, that's also why it said 264M on it. Okay, that's what it actually is. And you can see that these things are worth less than £10. I mean, that has no value at all, really. Okay, so one to store. The graphics card, just go to my stash of spare graphics cards for testing things. Okay, let's have a look at something else. This one is definitely not in the best of condition. It's like covered And this stuff, yeah, which looks like sand to me. Yeah, it looks like it's one washed up on the sand dunes. Yeah. We can see from the side of it as well. Okay, so interesting. It's all over this machine. Another one with 2 USB, but 4 more USBs down here. Graphics card. No, sorry, that's a serial port. That's SPDIF. That probably goes directly to the motherboard. Modem. Overslink. A LAN card. A graphics card. Onboard games port. So the fact it has this down here as well makes me think this might be another Pentium 4, but you know, to be quite honest, I have seen older machines with those brackets. The same with the serial port bracket as well, so this could well be something rather older. This side isn't quite as dirty as the other side. Okay, so guys, what do you think? This is really heavy for a PC. A lot of weight in that, so whether it's a very heavy gauge ATX case, I don't know. I'm peering down through the gap here, and this looks like it could be another P4. Yeah, do you want to see sick? Can you see in there? That looks like a P4 to me, the heatsink down there in the distance. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got, and also let's see what condition this is internally compared to the state of the outside of it. Yeah. Well, it's in that state. So this is all on here as well. I really wonder what happens to these PCs before I find them at the second-hand market. Graphics card says MX400A on the side of it. You can just see that from here. MX400A. Okay. Capacitors look good on this one. So another QDI. P2E333. Okay. It's in the right mess. I'm going to get the hard drive and the motherboard out of this. Let's see if we can get it into a slightly cleaner state than this. And let's see if this actually will work, yeah. I mean, it honestly looks like it's been in the sea. On the beach. Can you see this, guys? This is like rubble. Yeah, it's like rubble down inside this. Man, this is a mess. Yeah, this is a mess, this thing. Whatever's on it, it's dry and powdery. I mean, look at the state of my hands, yeah. Just from dismantling the machine. So, this does in fact clip directly on the board like I thought it might. The same with the serial port there. The same with the SPDIF there. 140303, so we can say 14th of March 03. Okay. Same on that one, 190303. QDI. Okay, P2E333. What is this thing? Well, it's another P4 as I would expect from the type of heatsink on here. Another sticker from 03, so 2003 again. 21 years old this thing. Pentium 4, 2.4 gig. Looks like there's some corrosion and stuff down inside the AGP slot. There's something in there. Okay. Get rid of all this rubble off the end of it. And it has what looks like, and it is in fact, though it's not fitted, an ISO slot. So, like it would have had or could have had some sort of just resistor networks, these. Okay, they're like 4 resistors and parallel basically. Unless it's one common end and 7, but I think they're probably 4 in parallel. Some more space here for some resistors, capacitors. So that says that there must have been another version of this board with ISA. And if that's the case, to find a P4478 with ISA must be really unusual. I've seen kind of like AMD machines of this sort of vintage that have an ISA slot, and they're worth at least twice as much as the similar ones that take the same processor that don't have the ISA slot. Obviously it was never fitted and there's some components not there. You'd think the motherboard would support it, but then you would also think there's probably a BIOS for the version of this board that had it, if they ever made one. So, there you go. That's one for the real nerds out there. One, are there any socket 478P4s with an ISA slot? And B, would it be possible, if we knew what the components were, and we could program the BIOS to make it work with an ISA slot? Yeah. Guys. To answer my own question, there are socket 478 with ISA. They seem to be really quite scarce. And look at the money they fetch. I mean, these are sold, okay? That one, fair enough, 3 ISA. This one, Intel, again, 478 with 3 ISA. And these fetch good money. That one doesn't have any AGP on it. This one has AGP, 2 PCI and 3 ISA, and that is worth a lot of money. You never know, guys. One day I might just find one, yeah. I was close this time, but no cigar, as they say. Anyway, this thing is in such a dirty state that even this isn't going to help much. Well, I mean, it helps, you can see. Actually helps more than you might think. But some of it's really ingrained. Okay. Some more screws. I'm going to go put this one in the sink, leave it till tomorrow. So don't get me wrong, I won't leave it in the sink till tomorrow. I'll go put it in the sink, get some hand wash. This is the public toilets down here. Give this a good clean with a paintbrush, soapy water, rinse it off, bring it back into the workshop, shake off as much of the water as I can, and then let it sit until tomorrow morning, when it should be completely dry, because the temperature in the workshop, yeah, it's currently 28 centigrade in my workshop. That's with the aircon on. So once I leave here this afternoon, it'll warm up a bit more, and this should be well dry by tomorrow morning. So let's just give it a wash, and I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the sink. Just before I do, this is the graphics card, MX400, GeForce 2, probably. I think the GeForce 2 MX400 is worth more than the GeForce 4 MX100. We can check that out later, or tomorrow most likely. LAN card, not really worth anything. Modem card, not really worth anything. And give it a bit of a why. Yeah, I know the dust is going on the motherboard, that's going in the sink. Yeah, 80 gig hard drive, Seagate, okay? Let's give this a quick wash. Sorry, you can't see me do this down in the toilets. Okay guys, so this is wet. You can see it's come out of the sink. It's much cleaner than it was before. I might have missed a little bit down here. Okay, but we can just clean that off afterwards. Yeah, I did just miss a little bit down there. Yeah. Was a bit of ISO clean these little areas. It's mostly cleaned now. So what I do with this is I leave it sitting upright. I leave it until tomorrow. If I was still at the office, I'd actually probably just leave it outside a while in the sun. That will soon dry this thing out. But by tomorrow that should be dried, and then we can actually give it a go, okay? Doesn't require any external heating. It'll soon evaporate, or rather it'll have plenty of time to evaporate before I come back in the morning. Okay, so let's leave that. We'll carry on tomorrow. Well, today is tomorrow, or tomorrow is today, whichever way you want to think of that. The board has dried out, so this is the result of literally washing this in the sink. You see, I didn't quite get all of the dirt in this corner. I can do that again. I can also see now there appears to be some damage to the board here, like something scratched. I mean, we can see like there's a bit missing out there from that corner, okay, and then there's like a scratch or something here. Let's get a bit of ISO and just try to clean that bit again. You can see it clearly now, so something has really rubbed against this. Yeah. Oh, actual fact, no, that is actually a deposit on it, okay. Yeah, this is like paint or something, actually. Okay. Yeah, off that comes. But we definitely appear to have some sort of scratch here. Let's have a quick look under the microscope and see how bad that actually looks. Okay, so we can clearly see it now. Is that a scratch or some sort of deposit? It's very hard to say. It doesn't seem to come off, but it doesn't feel like it's indented into the board either, you know, like cut into it. It's very strange that it's just scraping away more with my plastic tool than it is anything else. Okay, it certainly doesn't seem to be cut into the board. Interesting. This seems to be somewhere around the audio chip by the looks of it. I think that's the audio chip at least. ALC 650. Yeah, I looked up the data sheet. That is an audio chip, okay. Everything else looks pretty clean. Look, that's just a bit of dust. So it's certainly much better than it was, and I'm happy to test this. If I can get the hard drive to boot it as an OS on there, I can very quickly test the audio on this anyway. You can see all the rear connectors have got nice and clean. Yeah, okay, we'll give it a go. The first thing then, we'll just check the 12 volt connector resistance. Ground, resistance looks good. Let's try it. Power on, and it's booting, and no graphics card at the moment, okay. B0. So we'll add the graphics card. I'll put the monitor onto VGA, so I have the monitor just there, just above. Okay, you can see it quite clearly, I think. As I say, let me know if you prefer this camera angle. Start. Fans noisy. Same error. Okay. Normally 2B or something like that is the code for a graphics card, not this B0. It could be that the RAM is being detected but not effectively working. I'll just take the RAM out. We'll take the graphics card out as well. Okay. What do we have? Oh, that's different. FF and the continuous bleep. I didn't expect to see that because there's no RAM in. Again. Oh, interesting. I'll just give the RAM a clean. It's a little bit grubby. Okay, I've cleaned the slots and the RAM. Even though they've been in the sink, they looked a little bit dusty and dirty in there. What do we get now? Ah, it goes past that 2B. I also noticed, I'll put the overhead camera on so you can see this. Okay, there's a row of LEDs down here, and without the RAM in, take it out. You see it goes to the second LED, this is where you're getting the FF code. And when I had the RAM in previously, it was going to the same pattern onto the same LED and giving the B0 code. So that was telling me again, actually, it was RAM in both cases. We'll put the RAM back in and we can watch these. Yeah, you see? And it's now going to the last one and it's making the sound that says there's no graphics card, which of course there isn't. In that case then, we better put the graphics card in, yeah? So graphics card in, again, what do we have? Noisy fan on the graphics card. It's seen it, I have a blue light on the monitor and I have a picture, okay? Graphics card is, well, it's not actually telling me. Okay, but it is working. Let's see if we can boot from the hard drive. I have the hard drive attached, I have a keyboard and mouse attached to it. Power on. I've noticed the noisy fan on the graphics card goes quiet after a little while as well. Okay. Let's see if we can get into the BIOS maybe. Let's have a look. I think I probably just missed it. It seems to be booting. Okay, start Windows normally. No, keyboard doesn't seem to be working. Oh, XP, it's booting. Okay. I think I might have a slightly dodgy keyboard actually. The wires going into the back of it seem to be hanging out. Wouldn't be surprised. And it crashes. I'll get another keyboard then. Okay, have a beige one, yeah. Beige English one, not so easy to find over here in Spain and the Canary Islands, but I did find one at one time. We'll try, and this time I'll actually just try to get into the BIOS by hitting the Del key a little bit quicker than I did before. Well, it's saying press Del to enter setup. Well, the keyboard's working, I'm in, okay. So this keyboard is good. Let's just go to the defaults. Save exit, let's see what happens. Now when I get to this point, it's like I can't select anything. It just auto starts anyway, so it wasn't the keyboard, I just can't select anything from there. And it crashes. So it would appear there's some problem with the XP installed on this. Well guys, as we can see, or as you can see now, I've made several attempts to boot XP on this machine with some different drives. I then got a DVD-ROM and a original XP CD and tried to install it. I've tried this twice using different target drives, the one that came with it and another one. So the machine will read the CD, it goes through all the installation process, and as much as it will partition and format the drive, it will then copy all the files, but when it restarts to run XP, it always crashes, okay? And this is the problem I have. So it seems that it crashes when NTFS sys loads, and it's not the drive, it's not the cable. The machine is stable until that point, which makes me think everything else like RAM and processor and that must be working. But hey, what do you guys think, yeah? So there we have it. This motherboard and processor don't seem to work, but the interesting thing is it always crashes in exactly the same way at the same point. So it's not like, for example, 40 capacitors or something like that, you would honestly expect that to crash at random. It doesn't. It's very, very specific when this crashes. I have to say then that we have 1 out of 2 this week, so 1 board working and 1 board clearly not working. It's a shame because this is probably worth a bit of money, to be quite honest. Anyway, you can't win them all, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you all soon on Learn Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.